Okay, in this first drawing, you've drawn your 6 rooms. You've chosen the best room design, and we're going to actually create 2 or more windows. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow a few basic construction rules. Excuse me, and that would be that we're going to put the top of the window at 80 inches. So we're going to use our tape measure to identify where that's going to go, and you kind of want to plan your room out a little bit and think about what you're going for here. So I'm just going to start placing some windows, and I can always change my design here as I work. But I'm going to measure up from the floor and pull this up and type 80 enter, or 80 inches, because we want this to look like a standard house. Now the reason we're putting some distance between the ceiling and the top of the window is because structurally engineers have figured out that we need a header over the top of the window. And so the weight of the second floor, the roof, is pushing down on this wall. It hits a structural member called a header, and then distributes around the window down through a jack and king stud, and then around the other side down through a jack and king stud into the foundation. So we're going to kind of simulate real construction techniques here. So 80 inches high, almost anything else goes. So I'm going to draw like a large arched window here, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's say I wanted like some kind of buffet table right here. Well, I don't want my window just a little bit off the ground, and then my buffet table blocks my window. So I'm going to come up a good 36 inches, so that I have some wall here. I'm going to come in the number I want. I'm just making this up as I go here. I'm going to go 16, and I'm going to go 16 over from the right. Usually what I do on the left, I do on the right to make things look symmetrical. And then I am going to do an arched window, so I'm going to measure down the amount I want to arch. Now be careful as you pull these lines down. Notice I have a red axis and a blue axis. Well, which one's vertical? Well, blue. So if you're pulling it out on the red axis here, it may look correct, but as you spin around and you look at where you actually place that line, you actually place it out in front, off of the wall. So typically, if you have a problem and things aren't working out, that's probably what's going on. Here's another telltale sign of that. If I try to draw a rectangle right here, notice that there's no intersection popping up, whereas here it's finding where those 2 lines cross over each other. That's because these don't cross each other, as you just saw. So we're going to go ahead and erase this line and redraw in that other tape measure line that I just put in there. So we're going to bring this down on the blue axis. I'm going to go 8, enter. And then I'm going to go ahead and place a rectangle here, and I'm going to place an arc from left to right and pull it up to the top of my 80 line. Don't go above the 80. Erase it, make it one new shape, and erase your tape measure lines out here. Be careful as you erase things, because you can hollow out your room. I'm going to Control Z that. I can hollow out a wall. I can erase the inside and remove it. So you got to be very careful and detail oriented here as you work, that you don't mess up your room or you may be starting over. Now this shape is drawn on one side of the wall. It's not on both sides. That's what we want. And then we're going to pull it all the way through until it either says on face, like that, or you could just type 4.5, which is the thickness of your wall. And then the last step is to draw something that looks like glass at the bottom. So for this, you've got to have pretty good mouse control over what you're doing. And we're going to zoom in on the bottom of this windowsill, and we're going to just draw a rectangle at the bottom. And this is going to go all the way across, representing something that looks kind of like a pane of glass. It doesn't have to be completely realistic in size. So we're going to, and I'm kind of doing it here without explaining it. I started it while I was zoomed in. Then you zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, orbit. Okay, and then you got to go to the other corner and zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, until you can see that rectangle, and then click. That takes some, good mouse abilities to be able to do that, but just keep trying and you'll get it. And then we're going to pull this little rectangle up, and this is eventually going to be glass. So you have to do an arched window in 2 segments. You got to pull it up to the corner, and then you got to zoom in on the inside here, or the center, and then pull it up the rest of the way, like to that edge right there, and then we'll just make sure we've got it all the way. Okay, good. Now it doesn't look like anything but a flat rectangle, but once you go to your bucket or your fills, one of the fills is called translucent. And so if you go to a translucent fill, you can actually pick one of the glasses that's available here and click on that side and click on the outside. And then once you click on both sides, you can see that you have a translucent fill. One of the common problems that people run into with a translucent fill is maybe if the wall was previously painted. So there's paint and now there's a translucent fill on top of the paint, and then they can't see through it. So sometimes you have to kind of start over. You don't have to draw your window over, but one of the options here is set material to paint with default. So click on the default fill that side with default, fill this side with default, kind of start over, go back to your glass, try it again and see if it works, and hopefully you just have one material painted on there then. So that's your first window. Now if you want to do a second window, I mean, it doesn't have to look identical. Here's how to do a series of windows. I'll just do a couple real quick here for you. So we'll go faster here since we're reviewing. Come up 80. Okay, come over the amount you want from the left side. I'm going to go 6. Whatever I do there, I'm going to do here. 6. And that's my choice again. It doesn't have to be yours. I'm going to go up 10. I'm going to make a pretty big window here. And then I'm going to just draw in a rectangle that looks pretty good here to me. Now I'm going to do some skinny windows. I like that. Okay, now before I push-pull that, I'm going to copy this two-dimensional rectangle. We haven't really talked about copy that much, but copy is move with control key held down. So select what you want to copy first with your selection tool. That rectangle, you can see how it finds it. Go to your move command, hold control down, grab it at the corner, and copy it all the way to that corner. Now it's symmetrical. Now as soon as you drop in that copy, there's a cool tool that's basically an array or a copy in series. And let's say I wanted to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different total copies. Well, you would type in /4, which means 4 additional copies to the original. So we're going to go /4, enter, and you can see that it fills in all those windows and spaces them evenly. Now just go ahead and go in here and push-pull them all the way through. And then we're going to put glass on it like we did the previous window. Oops. Okay, watch. You gotta watch what you're doing too. Just like me. Now sometimes you push one too far. No big deal. Come to the back side, push it back even with the wall, and you're good to go. Okay? Zoom in, put your glass in. You know, you're gonna put your rectangle down here. You know, spin it around, do it like that, pull that up, and paint the glass, and you're good to go. So that's a little demo on the windows.